Welcome to the Women Waves podcast. We've got some fantastic women on here to talk to us about the industry and what they've been doing as females throughout life. It's been a fantastic journey for all these women. So on today, we've got Beatriz, Delgado, Mena. So if you just tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Bea. People call me Bea, and I'm director of photography in the UK. Well, I work in other places as well. And I'm based in London. I can travel anywhere, and cinematography is my thing. I've been doing this for over 6 years now, and willing to go on doing it and working in more amazing projects that are coming up, and keep on learning and keep on enjoying on set and on pre-production as always, as usual.
It's amazing. We've also got Charlie from the Girls Network on here.
Hi, I'm Charlie, CEO and co-founder of the Girls Network, and we run a mentoring program supporting 14 to 19-year-old girls from the least advantaged communities around the country, matching them with amazing women, much like yourselves, to mentor them for a year to build skills and confidence, and also open up opportunities and networks that they otherwise might not have access to. So, your aspiring cinematographer can meet brilliant people like Bea and be inspired and know that they can achieve as well.
Yay. Thank you, Charlie. And our special guest, we got Sasha Langeveldt today on. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello, so I'm Sasha. I was a mentee at the Girls Network about maybe 6-ish years ago. It was a very long time. And then I graduated from the program and became an ambassador and then went on to university. What I've been doing since then, I graduated university and then I ran in the leadership election. So I was students' union president last year, which was quite of a crazy year if we know 2020 for what it was. But now I guess I'm experiencing the kind of bad effects of COVID. I'm still looking for employment. I've looked to TikTok to make some creative things that I have been keeping myself busy with. But yeah, so that's basically me. I'm just trying to see where my life takes me.
What kind of TikTok videos have you been making?
Well, I try to make creative ones as much as I can, but I'm trying to venture into the dance ones, but I am not a dancer, so
nice.
It's a bit tricky.
I've heard they take ages to make as well.
They take so long. I think I woke up and I was like, okay, I'll do half a day, I'll try and make a creative film, and then I will do the rest trying to look for jobs. And then I'm sitting on the floor, my ring light has been on for an hour, and I'm still trying to edit the first half. But it is what it is. That's
a real
what happens.
Skill.
It is.
So how does it work? Do you have to edit it on the phone, on the application?
Oh, I'm still kind of learning how to use it. So I think you can edit it on the application, but some people also take it outside of the application. I'm still kind of in between. So I try and cut corners by posting something on Instagram, adding filters, then saving it, then uploading it. But it is pretty tricky.
Beatriz, have you turned to TikTok yet with your cinematography?
No, thank you, please. No more. I think that with Instagram and the stories that I kind of recently got into, I think that's enough. I'm enough with the two social medias. I don't even do Twitter, so I just have Facebook and Instagram, and I think that's enough. I use both of them for work stuff pretty much, and I used to do Facebook for personal stuff, but I think that people are not really there anymore that much on Facebook, so it's pretty much just work, and it's an amazing tool to look for jobs, but I don't think that TikTok is for me.
I think it's a great, it depends what type of profession you're into as well, doesn't it? Because I think with more performance-y type things, if you enjoy dancing and singing and acting and stuff, I do think TikTok can be quite a good platform for. And also it's quite creative, editing your own things and making your own. It's your own content, I guess, in a way.
Definitely.
Singing sea shanties apparently as well.
Yes.
This was a niche thing I liked, and then however many weeks ago when it happened, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Now the world is... I thought I was really weird for this, but apparently now I'm just ahead of the trend.
Yeah,
love it.
It's really good for also people who are at home and don't necessarily have a lot of equipment, because I watched this one person and they did a like a tiny advert using a fidget spinner. So I instantly went to my niece and I was like, where's your fidget spinner? So I'm going to try and do some other things, hopefully, just some random things.
And Bea, have you found that like nowadays Instagram has helped you with your like work in terms of being a cinematographer?
It's hard because I mean, obviously, that is like a shopping window pretty much. You just post your work and people look at it and people like your work, and then you get the likes, and sometimes not enough likes, sometimes too many likes. You never know. But some people have found me on Instagram and then contact me separately, or they have seen that I'm active and that I do a lot of things, and they have decided to contact me to tell me about their projects and stuff like that. But I haven't got so far like the amazing job offer through Instagram that is solving my life. Not at all. Like, I think that is something more like gradual, like more progressive. That little by little you are creating that that persona online and on the social media, and then people see it, people get to know what you are doing, and for self-promoting. But I don't know, some people have told me that they just get work through Instagram. At the moment, I'm getting more work through Facebook rather than Instagram. And right now, even people have contacted me after seeing that I'm the DP of some projects that are in this kind of crowdfunding campaigns, either in Greenlight or Indiegogo, that they have just suddenly seen it, and then they have contacted me saying like, hey, you are the DP of this. Have a look at my project. So I don't know, like, internet is an amazing tool, and it's kind of like a little bit of everything. And obviously mouth to mouth, like right now the most stuff is people that know me, and they know me through other projects or through other people, and they have been recommending me. So it's just like a little bit of everything.
I feel like that's always great, like when someone recommends you and then it comes from somebody else who having a great experience with you. That's always really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have like love bursts and just want to just attacks of love, just want to hug everyone like, oh, thank you. You just have that. Yeah, it's very nice, and you can receive a lot of support. Like a lot of times when people post jobs on Facebook and then I put my name, and then you start getting like a lot of likes or people commenting saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. And there is always this kind of group of people who always supports you, and you just feel so, so much gratitude and so much, respect, and so nice, yeah.
Have you ever found like a downside to that? Has it ever been an issue in terms of like, I don't know, has it ever like had a negative impact, feeling like you have to always post your work, or like feeling like you need to keep up with doing it?
Totally, all the time. I fucking hate it. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, like, I love internet and how, it's like, it's great. On one side, internet has given us so many amazing opportunities. We can connect from far away, we can collaborate, we can just get to promote yourself, and it seems very easy. But the downside of it is like all this kind of like fake image that you present to the society that is not you, and in the end, like, you get to be kind of obsessed. And even if you fight it, even if you kind of like try to control it, there is always this thing in the back of your mind. You are kind of like exposing yourself. You are nothing but what you are posting and what people perceive of you. And because of that, you as well compare to the rest of the people. And you cannot help it. You cannot help comparing, like, suddenly you see one day one story from this DP or from this person doing this shoot that you don't really know if that's happening right now or 1 year ago, because that happens a lot of time. And you start saying, oh my God, they are doing these amazing projects, and look at me, I'm at home, I'm just like watching Netflix, what do I do? And it's hard to fight that, and we are kind of grown-ups, but I can imagine like people who are teenagers now, and maybe not in the career or professional side, but as teenagers, or places when you are developing your personality, how much impact social media is making in us all, and how much we cannot get rid of it. It's just impossible. Even if you turn off notifications from the phone, you always end up coming back and looking and checking what people are doing and comparing yourself or thinking that you are not doing enough. So there is always this downside, this kind of like two faces of internet and social media. So yeah,
I still get that now. Like I still get that now. Even I have to turn off my phone quite a lot to be like, just get away from me.
Really?
It's so difficult. How do you girls find it?
I would agree. When I was student union president, so last year, obviously 2020 was 2020, and my phone just kept ringing, and people didn't necessarily know the personal boundaries between accessing your personal space online and accessing your workspace. So I got to the point where I literally had a breakdown online, and I was crying. And I remember going home because I was like, okay, this day has been really good, I think I've done a lot today. And then I went home, and then people were messaging me about work, being like, what hasn't been done? I put pizza in the oven, and then I automatically just burst out online, and it was so public. And then I burnt my pizza, which made it worse, and I was just in a miserable mood.
Not the pizza.
Not the pizza. And I remember just pushing it to the side, running upstairs, putting my running shoes on and running. And I remember I was just running so fast, I swore at the sky, and these people jogging behind me saw it. I just started laughing all the way home. But I did eat the pizza the next day because, a change of perspective, I tell you that. It wasn't that burnt, but I definitely
good. So that's the icing on the cake.
It was. But I definitely think social media allows people to think that you're accessible 24/7, and that's not the case. Like my phone is on silent like every day now when people try and message me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry about that. Like my phone's on silent, but I'm on my phone most of the time. But it's just the sound that just triggers just not good positive emotions.
And I think when you respond all the time, people expect you to respond all the time, don't they? So actually by not responding all the time, you almost sort of train people to know that actually you aren't going to be there all of the time. And so, to be patient for a response.
Yeah, I think that is as well, like, not just social media, but the fact that we have a device with us all the time, available there, and you can just turn it out and, do something, stay away from there, but it's always in the back of your mind. And I don't know if it happens to you girls, but for me, I kind of always end up having kind of like a close relationship with the people I work with. Like it's almost like friendships because you get along and the people are cool and it's really cool and very nice. So they end up there is not this kind of like difference between your professional life and your personal life, to the point that you might be chilling on a Saturday at 1 a.m. and a director or someone you work with suddenly message you and that it's not with bad intentions or anything like that, but then it's kind of like impossible to switch off from who you are, as in my case as a DP. It's kind of like all the time there, because my social relationships are people I work with a lot of time, and then they eventually every now and then they talk about work at any time, any day, even when you are on holidays. So it's kind of like hard to switch off and to say like, enough, I don't want to think about film or anything. And you don't want to be rude, all right? You don't want to say, I don't want to talk now about that. It's kind of like always, it's kind of like tricky thing, like, oh, what should I do? What should I say without sounding rude or, unpolite? So it's always this kind of tricky,
But I sort of think that's where sort of people at the top, for want of a better expression, have a responsibility to role model switching off and not contacting all the time. I'm really conscious with my team that there's lots to do, and because I set up the charity, it's because it's my baby. I will work at times where probably I shouldn't, because if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. But I really have to be careful to then not be sending my team messages too late at night or over the weekend, because even if I put in the don't reply, you shouldn't be working now, this is for Monday when you're back in the office, there's something about the doing that anyway that models this behaviour of always being on, and it doesn't give them the space to actually have time off. So I do think there's a responsibility to as well as looking after your own working time, trying to safeguard other people's as well. But it's hard, and people don't do it all the time.
I totally agree.
Because it's like, as well, I guess, as someone who is with a bit more authority in a company or whatever, if you're messaging people even though you might say, okay, you don't need to look at this until Monday, but that person then they're automatically going to be thinking about it, and they might not be replying straight away, but then it still feels like it's kind of affected their weekend or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, really true.
It's in the back of your mind, and even if you don't do the double blue tick, like you don't read the message, you know that it's like an red message, but I have it there.
Yes. Have you ever done that thing where you have your phone and then a message pops up and you're like, okay, I'm not prepared to read it now, and then you automatically just tap it by accident. You're like, oh,
Oh,
and you're like, hi.
And now I've got to reply.
There's a thing you can do on WhatsApp if you didn't know. Take off receive messages, so like you can take off like the blue tick, and you can take off that you're online as well.
Oh, I need to do that.
So
what can you take off? Because I knew you could take off your last scene. Can you take off when you're online now?
yeah,
Oh,
Can you?
that's a game changer.
that is a
You know,
game
sometimes
changer.
as well, you go on WhatsApp and you have all these messages, or someone messages you while you're on it. Even if you don't open it, you know they can see that you're online. So you're like, oh
I
no.
hate it. Has someone ever told you that you are ghosting them? I think that they say ghosting them.
Yeah.
Right?
Ghosting, yeah.
I find it's so annoying, right? It's like, stop it. How, like, why do you feel entitled to think that I need to stop everything in my life to answer your phone, like your message right now? Like,
boundaries,
whatever I'm doing. It's
boundaries.
Yes. Boundaries for sure.
Yeah, that happened to me over Christmas, actually. I don't really know them as like a friend, but they messaged, and it's, sorry to bring up Brexit again, but it was just about Brexit, and I posted something on my social media, and then they replied saying, basically wanting me to explain why it's negative for the economy, and then I didn't reply because it was Christmas Eve, and then they messaged me again on Christmas, and they were like, Sasha, I'm still waiting, and I was like, I don't even know you like that.
What?
So I was like, I blocked them, and I was like, I don't owe you my time. I will reply when I want to reply. Yeah, boundaries are very important.
Yes.
Christmas Day as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You should have an already like thought out response if people keep asking you.
should.
You should have like I think there's like a link to like a child's explanation of like things that are happening in the world.
I love that.
Which I've been watching
it.
because I don't understand. So like watching children's explanations and just like breaking it down just so I get it. Just send them to YouTube.
I might start
Good
to
idea.
I might start
Love
doing
that.
Lish, I think that I need that link just to have a look.
Okay,
because I
I'll
have
send
no
it to
idea
you.
what's going on.
To be fair, I suspect that most people would benefit from having most things explained in sort of childlike terms.
Yes, 100%. Because that's how they confuse us. That's how they get us.
True.
I think also if you can explain something to a child, it probably means that you properly understand it.
Yeah.
To be able to put it in simple terms. The risk is obviously you lose nuance, and there are some of the conversations at the moment, require nuance. I find a lot talking about gender, it's very easy to make big sweeping statements, and you lose nuance, and then people take the wrong message away. So when you talk about, most women or lots of women struggle with X, Y, or Z, confidence, for example, we talk a lot about confidence with our girls and young women. And the data shows that it is a bigger problem typically for girls and young women. But the risk is if you don't then sort of talk about the fact that that doesn't mean it's true for every girl and young woman. It doesn't mean there's a problem with girls and women. It's just what data shows. So we can learn something useful from it, and we can think about how we can help everybody to be confident. But if you don't have a little bit of space for that nuance, you end up sort of potentially giving out messages you don't mean to.
Yeah, for sure.
Bea, how did you first get into cinematography? What's your kind of journey?
It's a very weird one, to be honest. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer and an actress. So I was just like singing everywhere. I was doing theater. I did theater for 13 years. I love it. And then I said, like, okay, like a lot of actors are hungry. They don't have jobs. What should I do? And people say, like, Bea, you could do journalism. I was like, okay, well, I like writing and I love reading. Why not? I'm going to do journalism. So I studied journalism, and then the boyfriend I had by the time said, Bea, if you do journalism, then you can access to film studies afterwards, but doing less years at university. So I did first journalism, and I did then film. I didn't know that there were like film studies like that. I'm from a very small town in Spain where we don't have this kind of like fancy film studies or anything like that. And then I thought, I'm gonna be like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise started being an actor, and now he's producing and being a big man. I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna start behind the camera, and then I'm gonna become like Penelope Cruz, right, the actress.
Yes.
It never happened. So I started film studies. I work as journalist. In newspapers, on radio. I started presenting videos, stupid videos, when I was living in the Netherlands, and I did all those weird stuff. And then I ended up in the UK. I did master's degree in directing, not in cinematography, in directing. But I was always like, even when I was younger, I really loved painting and the visual stuff. I really enjoy. And when I was directing, I realized that even though I have been working as an actor before, I was very focused on the visuals, on how the camera was moving and the light and the colors, all those kind of like visual stuff. And whereas I did enjoy a lot directing actors and seeing how they could do stuff, I went to London and I started working more with camera, enjoying how actors were being directed by the director, and that was great. So when I went to London, like more than 6 years ago, I started working more with camera. And because I had been working on TV as camera operator before for some months in Spain, I had the stuff, like the skills and the knowledge was there a little bit, part of it. Obviously I'm still learning, and I will be learning for the next 40 years hopefully. So yeah, it's weird. I'm here because once I wanted to win an Oscar as an actress, and that's how I ended up being a director of photography. So, yeah.
It's mad how your mind changes throughout time, because you start to learn more about yourself and realizing what actually you do enjoy, instead of you trying to force yourself into a pigeonhole.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's weird because for instance, years ago, I loved being in front of the camera, and I was like very bubbly, and I would just like present stuff and doing like, I used to work as entertainer, going to festivities and festivities in villages and in cities, dressed like a fairy, or working with fire, telling story tales, doing sword fights, and a lot of this kind of like circus stuff. And now I'm kind of like becoming more and more shy somehow. Like I don't know if it's age or the fact that now I'm really the person behind the camera, like checking how everything looks like. Suddenly, as like I have fit that person, and my profession has fit that has fed that in me, like being kind of like more shy and maybe more self-aware. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting. I do feel like the older you get, sometimes the more self-aware you become, that those behaviors that you used to have when you were younger, where you didn't used to think about it so much, so you just go for it, you just do it.
It sucks.
No, it's good. It's good that you've learned. It's good that you've become aware. So
no,
it's not bad.
Yeah, no, that's for
Definitely
sure. That's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. Now I don't want to be in front of the camera. I do miss acting. Indeed, I would love to be in a theater group and do like weird stuff of expressing yourself with your body and exploring things. And I do love singing still. So I think that will always be in me, but not professionally by far. Like I really love my work, and the job is beautiful. Like when I'm working, it's just like I always feel very lucky to be able to make a living with my job, and like being surrounded by so many talented people, so dynamic. One day you are doing this, one day you're at home in pajama, the next day you are filming this other stuff, the following 3 days you are in pajamas well in your house. But it's like very, very dynamic. It's nice. I don't get bored, which is great.
Amazing. And Sasha, what type of YouTube videos have you been doing? How did you get into it?
Like Bea, what she was saying was, I've always been interested in just in creating things. Like I did drama, music, art, and dance. I mean, I failed a lot of them, but you know, it's about the courage and you know the drive to do more.
Yeah.
100%.
And I've always just been taking photos, and I think that's what's like just maybe like gave me my passion is I love storytelling, and I think just the way people connect by just saying things that other people are not necessarily saying but are experiencing changes a lot of people's lives. So I just started filming. I actually filmed my whole university experience. I have a lot of footage on my camera that I need to edit. I only got up to second year, so I've got my third year and then my presidency that I've been filming. So I just got into that, and I was just really documenting everything. I've always said to my friends that, you know, they expect me to be the next prime minister, and you know, I think I will be, because I think the way my life is leading me,
Yes.
Yeah.
the way my life is leading me, I'm gonna be in politics in some way. But my true passion is documentary filmmaking. I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be a singer. I cannot sing, so singing is maybe in the backboards for the shower at home. But yeah, so that's basically what I did. I haven't posted a lot of YouTube videos in a while, but I have got all the footage that I need to just edit and take some time to just... It's just a hobby of mine, really. But I do love storytelling, and I think that's why it's given me the passion. Especially when, you know, when we're talking about where does your life lead you, I don't think anybody really knows, you know, where their life is going. And I think, for example, that's why the Girls Network is so important in, for example, my development, because I went to the Girls Network. You know, they helped me fix my CV for English literature, history, or philosophy, and I did philosophy, but now, you know, my life is in a whole different perspective, like maybe 5 or 6 years later. So I think it's just about, you know, sharing your experiences, learning from new things, and then also just seeing where your life takes you. Like, honestly, don't close any doors, because one door will open to a next door that will lead you to somewhere you never thought you would be in your lifetime. So
Wow.
So maybe when you're prime minister, you can create a documentary about being prime minister
Yeah.
and what it's like.
you can find all the insides of my TikTok.
Love it.
I love it. You would be the first person in politics, I think, to like create these TikTok videos, and people will love it.
Yeah.
I think so.
It would be funny.
I now have images of Hugh Grant in Love Actually with his dancing down the stairs.
Oh yeah.
But that would be great, because like what happens, like a lot of people when they see politics, they, you know, like and the politicians, they just like, they don't feel kind of like emotionally attached to them, because they feel that they are like very uptight and just like,
Exactly.
And then when suddenly you realize that that person is the same as you with their own problems, and they talk the same way you do, and they, you know, that kind of like makes it closer. And I think that that's what is lacking right now in a lot of politicians.
Exactly. There's one politician in America that I think has really connected with people like that, and that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Like, she films a lot of like her everyday life and stuff like that, and I think that is the bridge to just literally touching inside your heart. A lot of people like who are just normal and average, because we don't necessarily see a lot of politicians who can relate to, you know, the typical person down the road. I'm a bit confused, because I was born in 97, and this is probably just a slight tangent, but I was born in 97, so I am just the end of millennial but the beginning of Gen Z. So I'm in this identity crisis phase, as in like, am I Gen Z or am I a millennial? I think I'm a Gen Z, just by the fact that I live online. But
I think Sasha picked the best bits of both.
that's true. That's
Make
true.
it work for you.
That's true.
I'm from the Y generation, so I've been asking myself why a lot.
Oh, nice.
It's been...
I was confused. I was like, so wait a second, is there another generation? Because I'm super lost with all those generation stuff.
There's loads, like Z generation, X generation. It just goes on.
So
doesn't
what's
it?
Z? Is
I
Z
think
90s?
Z is from 2000. What? No, Generation Z, I think, is from 1997 or 6 to 2010, and I don't think they've updated the new one. I think they're working out what to call it.
Run out of letters.
Z.2 or 2.0.
And what about the X? Generation X?
Generation,
that?
I think Generation X is from like, I think like my mom's age, so like in, oh gosh,
In the 70s.
yeah, I think so. And Generation Y is like the millennial. I think they changed it to Y or millennial. I have no reason.
I think there's a lot of
maybe I'm
debate
not
about
white
the
then.
exact dates as well. So I think millennials, so many people have argued about like when in the 80s did millennial start, or was it really, you know, I don't know. I think I'm a millennial, but the kind of the older end of it.
I always thought, and this is me either being ridiculously stupid or makes sense, what I always thought millennial was the 2000.
Me too.
I thought
Literally.
that as well.
Me too.
Until this moment, until this very moment, I thought that.
It's probably
because it makes sense.
Becoming a certain age over the millennium. I suspect that's what it is. So like I don't know, I'm wildly speculating, that could be wrong, but it might be like over the millennium you were like between X age and Y age, maybe.
Okay, right. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna do a little game where we all create a movie together. And you've been given an extremely large budget. We're going to give you the budget that was also given to One Division for each of their episodes, if you've seen it. 25 million for your movie.
Okay.
So who would you have in it? What would the movie be about? And what genre would it be?
And it could be anything.
Sasha, you first. I think I will go for sci-fi. I mean, it's not that I'm a big fan of sci-fi, but I think that you know, in between sci-fi and kind of like cyberpunk look. So sci-fi set in the world, in our planet. And I think that, you know, I think that visually speaking, it can be really cool, and we can as well, like, you could, I don't know, I think that I will talk about social media mixed with cyborgs, mixed with with robots, and mixed with love between robots and humans, and how social media is changing it all. That sounds like Her. Damn it. The film? Okay, damn it, no. But well, I will include something more like cyberpunk or something like that. I think that visually speaking is great. I do love periods as well, but yeah, I will go for something more like, you know,
Nice.
Love, politics, and environment. I will mix those three things
in the cyberpunk
into
environment.
this kind of like cyberpunk.
Nice.
In a cyberpunk environment.
Yeah.
So we're doing Blade Runner meets like
With
The
Her.
Politician.
Yes.
And can Sasha
mix
be
with
the
her.
Prime Minister doing her TikTok videos?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Documenting everything.
Like
There you
a
go.
neon pink
That-
bob wig.
On TikTok, yeah, like
Yes.
where
Oh,
politicians.
this is great.
Yes, where politicians, and politicians are cyborgs that work on TikTok, showing their new adjustments of cyborg stuff.
I'm there.
Um,
I'm down.
Hey, and you can bring in the philosophy, because there can be that kind of like, you know, are the cyborgs or the humans better? Are we the same
Yes,
rights
yes.
or not? Like what
Yeah.
And then-
value of life?
Guys, we need to copyright this right now and get this written down.
And then the prime minister falls in love with a human who something like that, and then like and this
down.
human is an activist of environment and this thing, because half the world is fucked.
Yes.
Literally. So
Yes.
I'm starting to hope this is true, because I'm trying to find that love interest in my real life.
there you go.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure our current situation is helping with that either, is it?
No, honestly, I've just deleted all my dating apps. Although I
Have
slid
you?
into someone's DMs for the first time ever, and I got a very polite no, and I was like, I'm deleting everything.
Oh, that's amazing.
I
That's
was
confidence.
sweating so much, but I'm banned on Tinder for some reason.
Hold on.
I love that.
How does one get banned on Tinder?
Honestly,
Do we want to know, Sasha?
I've never received a nude, and I've never sent one, but I am banned, and I didn't get to experience that either way. But I think it was just like when I was campaigning, I think someone just reported my account, and you know, I think when you get so many reports, I think they just ban it. But I'm gonna unban myself. Lockdown has taught me some very ways to be very resourceful with the internet. If Tinder ever watches this, I'm joking.
I love this so much.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But like, surely if you're doing a campaign, you're a person. Like,
Yeah.
of course you're going to do things outside of.
Yeah, I do. I really don't know why. I messaged them. Not that I really care. I mean, I do care, kind of. But I messaged them and I was like, I'm banned, and then they just didn't. There's no like portal to like appeal anything. So you know.
I think your point, Lucia, you were making about like campaigning and having a private life outside it is really important, right? Like, it's very easy to expect people to not have a personal life, and you just you have your professional life and that's it. And then anything personal, any relationships, the fact that you might be dating, you know, has to be hidden under the carpet and is a bit of a taboo. And I think it's really unhealthy for young people coming up and you know, not seeing full people, and not you know, to show the details of your private life, right? But actually being open and honest about the fact that you have a private life is, you know, arguably a really good thing.
That's the thing, like we were saying earlier, it can become quite robotic because it's like people then, they have to be this certain way, so they're not kind of showing emotions or anything like that. That's why it's hard to connect to politicians.
And also, like, if you're trying to keep it a secret, I imagine this with anyone who's in the limelight, that you can't go out with that person. You can't do things that you do normally. Like, if you're campaigning about the environment and then you go out and you have a burger and get caught on camera for having a burger, and you're meant to be campaigning for the environment, then you're screwed.
I think,
right?
especially in like just the world that we live in, a lot of people are ready to cancel a lot of people. So I feel like, you know, you're campaigning about something, but then, you know, you do something else and then people are ready to cancel you. But everyone's to some degree is a hypocrite in you know, in their general life, whether we like it or not. And you know, I fight myself all the time because I'm like, how dare I call myself like a hypocrite? But I think we don't necessarily have the deeper conversations of why things are the way that they are, so we just automatically start saying, you know, you shouldn't do that or you should do that. But what we really should be doing is, why do you do that, and why should we, how to like do something better? So people are ready to cancel, but it should change.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's being quick to point the finger at somebody else, isn't it? And not spending the time, as you say, to get to know yourself and know why you do certain things, and then be able to communicate that to other people and to say, well, this is what I think and this is why, and this is why I behave this way. Tell me about you and let's learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Question for Beatriz. What's the first thing that you look for when you pick up a new script? What are the sort of qualities you go for? Have you turned down scripts before?
Yes, and it's a tricky thing because you never know. It's hard, right? Like you receive a script and even not analyzing the quality of the script itself, is like, okay, this could go somewhere. You never know who is behind the script, what kind of project, what kind of like director, what kind of producer, how many possibilities. It might not look that good on the script, but then when you see it live, with everything, like the actors and the location and edit it tells you something. So it's always like, you know, it's always hard because it's kind of like judging someone just based on one part of the process that it could lead, and it works the same way around. Like sometimes you have a script that it works and you think that you like it, and then the film is not that good. There's something that doesn't work or hasn't worked quite fine during the whole process. There's something that failed and, you know, it was not well executed. So it's always tricky, and that on one side, and on the other side, it's always hard when you never know who is that person, when you never know who, not just that opportunity, but how many opportunities in the future could doing this lead me to. So it's always like very tricky. I'm always very like, oh, should I say no? Should I say no? Should I say yes? Maybe this is not that good, but still it's gonna. I can make something beautiful out of it, and it's gonna work right in my showreel, and you know, it's money and it's work, and I do enjoy working no matter what. But I have said no to scripts that I thought that they were not really that good, that they were like I don't know, for some reason not really telling me anything, that it was not really I think that I say no more to people rather than scripts. It's more like not people in a personal level, but when someone tells me and gives me some specific notions or aspects or elements of how the project will be, sometimes it's like, okay, red flags, this is gonna be a lot of work for nothing. They're gonna abuse, not in a bad way, but they are gonna eventually abuse my time and my energy, and I don't have the energy to be leading these people, or to be working on this that is not gonna really give me anything back. So yeah, sometimes it's tricky, but yeah. And recently I said no to a script of a feature film. The director was lovely, the producer as well, and it was a paid project, obviously, and I said no because I was a little bit scared of being attached to the topic of the film. Sometimes you read scripts and it's like, oof, I think I will need to do research to really think or say, do I want to be attached to this topic or to this theme, or even to these people sometimes, if they have a bad fame or something. It's like sometimes the script is amazing, but you've heard bad things about those productions or those people, and you don't know, you never know, because I tend to always think well from people. I don't usually give listen to the bad opinions from others. It's like, yeah, but you always think that they can get better, or it was just an isolated moment that they were bad, but that now they are good again, or so it's tricky for me. What I look for in a script is that it comes to my mind. Like I'm reading it and I'm picturing it in my mind perfectly. The dynamics, and it's working as a film already in my mind. If it works that way, if I don't cringe, or if I don't feel like, wow, what the fuck is this, then it's all good. And it happens with a lot of scripts that I read, to be honest. So it's good. It's a good thing. Sometimes I have received awful scripts, but the less time, the lesser times, it's been always a certain quality and nice feeling about it. So that's good.
Aside from the cyberpunk, are there themes or topics you're particularly drawn to? Or are there themes or topics that you've never worked on but you'd absolutely love to?
I like dramas in general. Like, I think that as a summary, I think that European dramas, I think that they are like quite nice. I like exploring. I would like to explore more the how women feel once the young years are over. I think that I would like to work more into that kind of topics, because I as well, like, I feel attached to the topic itself. But yeah, like there is not a specific topic that I think, oh, I haven't worked on that, I really would like to work on that. For me, there is two things that interest me a lot. One is environment, and the other one is like friendship and love relationships, not from the romantic side of point of view, but more from the from the real point of view. Like I really would like love or romantic relationships to be pictured in a very accurate way in films, and a lot of times it's not just, it just creates this kind of image and doesn't really show you like the real stuff, and so yeah, those two things are things that I like. But I mean, right now, tomorrow I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna wake up, it's like, oh damn it, why didn't I say this topic? I like this as well. So yeah, it's like I like a lot of things. People think that I like everything. I have a criterion and all that stuff. I know what I want, but it's if it's interesting, I can like anything.
Amazing. And Sasha, when you did your documenting for when you're at uni and when you do your YouTube videos, when you're being yourself, do you ever feel like you're acting, or do you feel comfortable being like 100% you, or is there like a character you take on?
I think this is a very interesting question. I think I'm myself, but then sometimes I do something and then I'm like when for example, when I'm not filming and I'm like, oh, that was really funny, and then I'm like, oh, should I recreate that? And I'm like, no, but you can never do it again. That's the thing, is like, whenever you're your natural self and you say something, you can never imitate that. So for me, when I filmed, I think the whole reason why I filmed in general is at university I actually struggled a lot in my first year. I went to the University of Kent and I went through clearing, and I didn't know anybody. Like, I was completely new to the area. My first day on campus was my first day at university, and I broke up with my ex at the time, and I was just not in a very good space. So I stayed in my bedroom like practically the whole first semester, and what I did was I would talk to the camera. I know it sounds really odd, but I would just document my whole journey. So there's videos of me trying to teach myself sign language, there's videos of me just dancing in my room, and I guess throughout my whole, like, I would say from school to university and now, I think I've just grown into being comfortable with who I am, and my closest friends know that I'm weird and they still love me for that, and that's more important to me than a stranger thinking what I'm doing is fake or not necessarily good enough, because I think I would like to say I'm myself, and I would like to try and be as pure as I can be. And I know sometimes it's a bit odd for people who watch online, but then I just realized that you literally can't please anyone. So I just try and stay true to myself and see. But I would like to try and get some personas that you could act, because it is quite interesting to get like a different point of view. And I think I'm trying to explore that, I guess, on TikTok, because you're at home and you don't necessarily have anyone else you can join in your video, so you have to make up these different people to make videos interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I can try, but I try to keep to myself and be as honest as I can be, I guess.
I'm just going to say, I think that was one of the things that was really powerful about your video, Sasha, was you were being so honest and authentic. And so for some of our younger girls thinking about going to university, it sort of made it less scary, because it didn't have to be this perfect life, and you didn't have to be, wildly happy and having the best time all of the time. And you didn't always have to be, out and drinking and do it. And you could do that sometimes, but you could also have days when you felt like, this is quite hard. And I think that authenticity was really important.
Yeah, I think it is important, because a lot of people don't necessarily, because we have social media, everyone doesn't want to show themselves and they're horrible or think they look on social media. But I think that's the problem, is that people constantly think that these people are living the perfect life, when really, we all go through our own struggles. And just showing your vulnerable side, you're showing some sort of strength, because a lot of people are actually experiencing the same thing and they actually appreciate it. So
it's definitely a strength, 100%. I think, like, showing vulnerability and weakness, it's seen as a weakness, but it's not, because if anything, you're encouraging people and showing them we all have bad days, and then someone might, not that, you want people to know that you're having a bad day, or you want people to have bad days, but it's just, we all go through it, it's just part of life. So when other people see that, then that might help them then be like, okay, I'm not the only one, type of thing.
Exactly. Fake it till you make it. That's what I like to say.
How did you find, like, being your authentic self was the best self that you could show? Because I know that I've definitely found that very difficult in life, like trying to prove that this other person that I've been trying to be isn't quite what I am. And
I guess in school, because I'm from Zimbabwe originally. I was born in Zimbabwe and I moved to the UK when I was 6. And I moved a lot as a child in terms of going to different schools. I mean, I moved country, and I was a people's pleaser, I would say, from primary school up until early secondary school. And I just wanted to make friends, because I've traveled and I've moved so much that I just wanted to keep people in my life, but it wasn't necessarily healthy friendships. And then when I got to about, I would say, year 10, year 11, I met my life friends who I still have in my life today, and they literally just accept me for who I am. And I think that helps me, because once you realize, a lot of people, when they say, why are you acting weird, why are you doing this, you don't act like that, they're often projecting their own insecurities onto you. So once you realize that a lot of people are just projecting, you just kind of think, you know what, even if I sold you unicorns and rainbows, and who doesn't like unicorns and rainbows, you would still probably say, why are you doing this, or something negative. So I guess literally just as long as you're happy, and I think as long as you're happy with what you've done, I think that helps me be who I am. So I'm a bit weird, I know that. It's fine.
Love it.
So, Bea, how has your experience been being a female cinematographer?
I think that now things are changing, and now I'm getting to know more and more female DPs out there that they were not there before, and I think that social media and Instagram is actually helping with this, or for me at least, to find out that there is like a lot of girls out there. But yeah, it's usually always like people think that it's a man's job because there is not a lot of women doing it. To be a DP is not hard. I think it's harder to be a second AC, a second assistant camera, for the people who don't know. And there's like plenty women there doing that. They have to carry a lot of stuff. They have to, move big hot boxes, heavy stuff from here, from there. And they are there to support the director of photography. In my case, like, if you have the right assistants and the right equipment, obviously, yeah, it's heavy and you have to get, do it and be kind of tough, physically speaking. But I don't think that there is something that, a woman couldn't do because, like there is a lot of heavy and hard jobs, but I don't think that nothing that hard for, a woman to not do, because they're like really strong women out there, and they're like as strong as men. So yeah, it's demanding, physically speaking, and mentally speaking, our job as cinematographers. But yeah, I think I'm lucky to be able to work on projects where we have our camera department, we have our lighting department, and all these people are there to assist you and to move stuff around. And yeah, you have to suffer when you have to hold the camera yourself, but the hard work is the assistants moving things around, really. So just a clap, applause to all the camera assistants out there, women, men, who do all this, and grips and Steadicam operators and gaffers and sparks who do all these kind of hard jobs and hard work, moving things around.
Have you ever had any, because it is quite a male-dominated industry in that sense, have you ever had any experiences where you've kind of had a man who wasn't like taking you seriously, or I don't know, as a woman sometimes it's almost like we have to prove ourselves a bit more. Have you ever had any difficulties with that?
Sometimes some people just kind of like are a little bit patronizing or condescending, or like I used to work sometimes as in some corporate stuff, event stuff years ago, and sometimes I was the boss of the camera team, because they were like, and you will arrive to the place, the location, and the clients or the organizers, they will never look at me as the boss. They will just go straight to the man who might be your assistant. It's like, yeah, well, and look, making just eye contact with them, even if you tell them like, no, sorry, it's me who you have to talk to, because I'm here managing, and I'm the boss of the camera team, not him. He's a lovely person, but and sometimes I have encountered this, and in film as well. Sometimes some people kind of like make a comment about, do you want me to help you? You're a lady, blah blah blah. But that's gonna be very few cases, to be honest. Like usually people are super nice. People don't see you as a woman or a man. You are just the DP, whoever you are. Doesn't really matter if you're a man or a woman. And I don't know, it's been mostly positive experiences. And in fact, I will say, like a lot of people say, like, yeah, like being a woman has helped you to be a DP, or the opposite. I will say that right now it has helped me, because there is like amazing people out there pushing to have female DPs, or curious to have a female DP, because sometimes some people who are starting feel like a man will maybe be more dominant, or more like I'm here knowing it's a stereotype. We all know that is a stereotype, but I've heard experiences, and a lot of amazing people are pushing to have female DPs, and that's benefiting me. That's giving me more jobs. So I'm really thankful for all those situations and all those people who, for some reason, wanted to have a woman behind the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so final question for all you ladies. What advice would you give for females out there?
I will say just go for it. Like you know, a lot of times you will be doubting yourself and you will be thinking that you're not enough, because we tend to be more insecure because of the way we are, you know, we are educated in the world and in our childhood, and how we picture ourselves, that is more like a facade and how we look, and instead of what we are like. And I will say just forget about it. Just like try to not think of what other people think of you, but just about what you feel, and stay firm and stern on what you believe, even if they call you bossy or whatever. Just like you know, be you know, confident about what you feel, because what you feel you only know, and that's your guidance. That's the thing that you have to follow. What about you, Sasha? Probably you have a better one.
No, that was good. I'm just trying to think of what things that you haven't said. I would say to just believe in yourself. I think that's one really important thing, because when you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect other people to believe in you? And I think, you know, believe in yourself, run into the unknown, because you never know that's exactly what you've been waiting for. And just enjoy life. Never be scared to just go outside of your comfort zone. Like, I went to the University of Kent through clearing, and I ended up as the student union president. Like, that's completely bizarre, and I never thought that would have happened.
Amazing.
So I would say just experience life fully, and don't forget to live life. I think that there's a good movie called Soul, and I definitely recommend everybody watch it. And
So good.
and I will just say, live your life. You know, don't focus on what you think your life is supposed to be. There's a quote, but I don't know who it's by, that it says something along the lines as, you know, do what you love, not what you think you're supposed to be doing. And I think that really resonated me as student senior president, because I wasn't sure if I was doing it because I was president or I was doing it because I was passionate about it. But really just, you know, live your life. Don't be scared to live it, and be happy.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
You're welcome.
Charlie?
Oh, Sasha's always so hard to follow.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just not the first time. I've had to. Sasha does the most profound things, and then I'm like, all right, sorry guys, you got me now. I think it's very easy to have that expectation that we can cope with everything and do everything, and we can take everything in our stride, and everything will be fine. And I think not being afraid to ask for help when things are hard, or even if things aren't. It's been a lesson I've really had to learn. Like, even when I probably can do it myself, the times I've stopped and actually asked other people to get involved and help, the end product has been so much better, because I've had multiple minds on it and multiple lenses on how to best approach it. It's generally been more fun. But even those times when I realised I haven't been able to do it, just being able to admit that as soon as possible and get help, and do it together, I think is a really powerful thing. And I don't think it's a weakness. And I think, like, remembering that it's not weak. It's just life, and we need each other, and that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Definitely needed that this week for sure. Thank you.
Lovely.
Well, thank you girls so much for being on here, and I've definitely learnt so much from you guys, and hope to stay in touch.
Thank you.
You're all brilliant, and I can't wait to see what you all do in the future.
It's been so lovely
been
to chat to
amazing.
you all. Just what we needed on this rainy Saturday.
Oh, honestly.
Thank you very much for having us.
Well, have a lovely weekend. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
The same,
Thank
girls.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.